Good morning, beautiful internet land. And good morning, Mo. We're just
Hey,
waiting on
Brian.
Instagram as usual, everybody. Bear with
Mm.
us for the requisite 17 seconds or so that it takes to
Mhm.
bring Instagram online. I'm having a little bit of gate fever about Instagram getting up to
Oh
running.
my gosh. Brian loves to hint the topic for the day.
Yeah, for the people here at the beginning, if you're watching this first 30 seconds or listening to the first 30 seconds of the podcast, you have a right to a hint.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. All right. So we are live everywhere. Good morning, Mo.
Good morning, Brian. So, welcome everyone to DIY Wellness. This is the show for people taking personal growth into their own hands. Brian and I were both certified life coaches, and in each episode, we like to explore different strategies for improving quality of life and well being. So, as we explore one method at a time, we just encourage you to check it out. And if it resonates with you, then you can test it or experiment with it in your own life. And then if it doesn't resonate with you, you just toss it out. But the whole point is just for us to bring exposure to different possible things to explore and try and have fun with, so that hopefully you're more likely to find things that can boost your quality of life a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Boost your wellness, so to speak.
Yeah.
So today we are going to talk about a topic that is I'm intimately familiar with this because I am an eager beaver here. So we're going to talk today about gate fever when eagerness starts to become impatient and so impatience. And so what we're going to do is we'll define gate fever, what that means exactly, where the term came from and how it applies to our own lives. And then we're going to get into a little bit what the risks are associated with this feeling of gate fever, even though sometimes it can actually feel mildly pleasant, at least at the beginning, because it's an eagerness towards usually something you're anticipating happening that's good for you. But there are some risks associated with it and not addressing it. And then we will uh, give you guys a little bit of a tool for how to notice when you're handling gate fever and how to maybe lessen some of the stress that comes along with it.
Yeah.
So with that said, Mo, how are you taking personal growth into your own hands this morning?
Yeah, so I am working on tempering gate fever for a number of things. One of which is that I'm starting a new, full-time coaching job in a couple of weeks from now, and I'm super excited for it to start. But I also have to be patient. And
Yeah,
then
that's a good
another,
one.
yeah, yeah. And I'm also really looking forward to my family's redoing some bathrooms, and I'm looking forward to that being done, but I also have to wait. I also have to temper that excitement. And so we're currently working on being present and existing in the now while still really looking forward to a few things happening.
Yeah. Yeah, which is tricky. It's a tricky situation. And because that's what gate fever is. It's a form of eagerness. It's a form of
Mhm.
excitement. It's a form of like, yo, this is a great thing that's about to happen to me. And
Mhm.
so we love that feeling, all of those parts of it, right? And then when it switches from this eagerness to gate fever is when it starts to produce the misery because you can't wait. You know that expression
Mhm.
we get, I can't wait. When you're
Yeah.
feeling that, I can't wait feeling, it's like kids a few days before Christmas. Like, yes, it's exciting and it's pleasant, but there's a tiny bit of misery under there for them too, right? Like, can we please get the presents already? And like, so that's
Mhm.
like a really mild example, Christmas morning, because it's so positive. But
Yeah.
where the term comes from is prison. Like this is where gate fever, like the term gate fever is first and mostly applied to prisoners who are about to be released. Like it's
Yeah.
called gate fever because they now have a fever about there being this close to the gate that gets them to the other side. And what's on the other
Mhm.
side? Because this is a metaphor we can extend into our own lives.
Right.
Freedom, autonomy, maybe joy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Reconciliation, redemption, all the good things are on the other side of that gate. And so prisoners will get this thing called gate fever, which then what happens if you get gate fever, this will happen in prisons often actually, is the closer and closer they get to their release date, the more and more likely they are to misbehave again or to act out in
Yeah.
gen pop or to like, so it's like I'm going to mix metaphors here, but it's like if you're a gymnast and you don't stick the landing, that's what
Yeah.
having gate fever is like for a person like in the throes of this eagerness. The eagerness can be so much for the thing that you're so looking forward to that it actually throws you off, creates a bit of brain fog, Bane frog, I almost said, and then you don't stick the landing. And so
Yeah.
those are sort of the risks associated with this thing. But that's
Yeah.
where gate fever came from, this idea of prisoners longing for release. And who can't relate to the feeling of being stuck with something and longing for the release from that something?
Yeah, and another really common example that most people are familiar with of gate fever is when a high schooler is getting to graduation. They're in their senior year, and we
Yes,
call it senioritis. It's like, oh, the closer you get to ending, rather than having this feeling of like wanting to finish strong, it's usually like I care a lot less, and I just want to be there.
yeah.
um, so that's another form of gate fever.
Yeah, exactly. It is because the eagerness is still there. You care a lot less about high school, but you're so eager for the release, for that
Mhm,
last summer, for college, whatever is coming for you next on the other side of high school. You know
mhm,
what I mean, right? And so yes, it is. It's a tough feeling. It's a
mhm,
really fun feeling and it's a runaway feeling. That's why we're bringing up this topic because I, for one, do have this feeling run away with me a lot, and then I have to
mhm.
slow down and I have to reconnect, reground, become present, and
Mhm,
release myself from the storm of attachment to this outcome.
mhm. Yeah, so the reason that Brian and I wanted to talk about gate fever is because it does have some risks associated with it, and if you don't have tools to kind of work with it or temper it, then it can throw us off. It can cause us to fumble the bag, like Brian was talking about earlier with like, if there is an incarcerated person who is about to be released and they're really, really eager to get to that other side of freedom and autonomy, so much so that then they act in a way that gets them in trouble, it could hold them back, right? It
Yes,
could it
and
could
it
cause them
does
to have to
often.
stay longer. Does
Yeah.
often, it happens. And we can do that in the same, way in smaller, I guess, lower stakes uh, moments of our lives. It's probably not going to keep us locked up, for longer, but it could still cause us to maybe not optimize an opportunity or to delay the outcome in some way.
Yeah, exactly, and these kinds of things happen in our lives, like, you uh when you're leaving a job and excited for a new job, or when you're starting to feel the feelings of wanting out of a toxic relationship, or when you're stepping into some radically new chapter of your life, these are the kinds of things where suddenly it can be a feeling of gate fever for you. And and in those feelings, we want to be able to stay grounded and connected. So a little too much of this eagerness can cause a few things, like we're starting to now place our happiness in the future. That's
Mhm.
sort of like, so it's okay to look forward to things. Like, obviously, we're not saying like the solution is to not look forward to stuff. Obviously, we can't help it. Like, we look forward to the good things that are happening. I do too. That's what I've been saying. Like, that's why this is a topic, because I do struggle with this. And yet, at the same time, we have to notice if the excitement for the future is now me placing all of my awareness, all of my, mental energy into the future, because then that's where it becomes dangerous. That's one of the risks, is that if you're doing that, then you're suddenly not present. It's akin to a person who's just like scrolling in their phone all the time. Your version of scrolling, if you have gate fever, is scrolling in your mind on the future event, right? And in that
I
sense,
like
then
that
you are
metaphor.
not present to your circumstances around you, whatever they may be. And so that's one of the
Yeah.
main risks, is that you lose your presence. You lose the fact that you can see that your happiness is rooted in the present moment. Like, if we say our happiness is when I get this job, when I get free of this relationship, when I finally graduate, right? When I get released from prison, whatever it is, then
Mhm.
then we can't be happy until. And so that's
Yeah.
another one of the risks that's associated there. We undervalue the present and then we lose sight of
Yeah.
it altogether.
Yeah, well, and really, being kind of anchored in this like future state, looking forward to that and saying, I can't be happy until that, I think that's a habit. If
Yep.
we are continually looking to the future for some state of happiness, it's well, and actually this is a I'm using a variant of a quote that is actually a Martin Luther King quote. He usually says, justice too long delayed is justice denied, but happiness too long delayed is happiness denied, right? It is a similar thing, is that if you don't allow it for yourself now, if you keep saying no to yourself being able to enjoy this moment, right?
Mhm.
By saying I'll be happy when, then you may just miss it. You may just not get it, in the same sense that in, the civil rights movement, anytime that external sources say, no, we can't have justice on this thing, no, you can't have equality, right? It is denied. It's not just like, oh, if I can't have it right now, I'm going to get it soon and then that'll be enough. No, the fact that it's not happening now is already not enough. It's already a denial.
Yeah, exactly. And so you want to make sure that as you allow your feelings of eagerness towards the things that you're excited about, that you also don't lose sight of the present moment, because one of the other risks is that it creates this inner friction, and that's what Mo is talking about now. Like I should be there already, right? The I should of it all. Like I like to say, don't should all over yourself.
Mhm.
Because
I love saying
so yeah.
that.
So and the other risk here is that when you put all of the stock in this imagined future, and it's imagined only because it hasn't happened yet, not because I'm not saying that it won't come about, right? But like the future is imaginary until it's here, and when we're so rooted in it, we're actually setting ourselves up for some letdown later, right? Like because the
Yeah.
thing that our imaginations are so powerful, so that usually the thing isn't quite as embellished as our imagination. And so if we embellish with our imagination for so long, to the point where we've lost sight of the present moment, and now we're in this like desperate yearning for the thing, that's really what gate fever can become. Then we're really setting
Mhm.
ourselves up for it not actually being that exciting once we get there, because our imagination version of it was way better than what it could ever have been, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, and I mean, with the two core examples that we used for gate fever, for anyone who is incarcerated, who's getting out of prison, usually getting out of prison is a lot harder and less exciting than it probably sounds when you're incarcerated. And same thing with like senioritis, like it sounds so amazing to get to the end of your high school, degree, and then when you get to the other side of it, it's like, oh my God, what am I gonna do with my life? And then you have to either go to college or go into the workforce. And like that's not as free as you hope it would be or assume it would be. It's like it's
Yeah.
just the next thing, and then you have to do it all over again. And I mean, it's a good thing to keep, moving towards the next thing, but a lot of times it can feel a little bit like a letdown, because it's like I thought I was gonna have all this freedom and be able to do whatever I want. And now I have to do other crap, you
Yeah.
know?
Exactly. All the more reason, guys, to stay rooted in your present, because in your present, you can already be experiencing these feelings, instead of delaying the deferred thing. Yeah. Gate fever is a tricky little,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Yeah. So how do we handle gate fever? What is like either a healthy or just, I guess, balanced way to approach and deal with it?
For me, it's some simple things. There are some simple things that help me, and they have to do with the use of language, because for me, I'm starting to realize how much of my reality is made up by what I say and tell myself. And so I'll do things like this. It's just simple as like trying to take out things like I can't or I have to, and reframe them with like I get to or I will. So for example, um I'm tired of waiting, right? Is kind of a feeling that comes up with gate fever. And so you can remind yourself that what's actually happening now before the event happens is part of what's creating the end result. So it's like we're building comfort with the process rather than needing to get to the end, because the thing is our whole life is a process. So anytime we exercise becoming comfortable with things in process, what we're really doing is exercising becoming comfortable with being alive, because being
Yeah.
alive is being in process, period, right? So it's about reframing that in your mind so that it's not a mad dash to the results. It's like, I'm looking forward to the freedom that I will experience is different than I can't wait to get to the freedom,
Right.
right? So they're
Right.
just tiny, tiny, tiny little linguistic shifts. Like I can't wait for this anymore can change to I get to experience freedom in a few short blah, 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 weeks, months, minutes,
Mhm.
right? So it's just tiny, tiny rephrases that help us center back into the benefit that we're going to get, because the benefit that we're going to get is
Yeah.
actually a benefit that we can have now, right? Like you can't legitimately have the full freedom and autonomy as a prisoner, but it's like the Viktor Frankl thing, right? Like you can choose how you go about being in the situations you're in. And the more and more you have gate fever as a prisoner, say, for example, the more and more you're going to feel trapped by your eagerness, even though
Yeah.
eventually you're going to be released. So if you can temper the eagerness with this, like the freeing linguistic tools that I'm talking about, and just say like, I'm going to be out there soon, and that's going to be so exciting, and focusing on those benefits, what you do is you actually give yourself the experience of freedom now, not the freedom of being in society, but the freedom from the anxiety being caused by the gate fever, so to speak.
Yeah. So let's just work with an example so that people can see what that looks like
Yeah.
in practice. So for example, right now I have this feeling of like I can't wait for my new job to start. I'm so excited to meet all these people. I'm so excited to meet my team and I just can't wait.
Yeah.
So what might be some different ways of thinking or talking about it with myself? Obviously the I'm going to be in this new job soon.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
feels qualitatively different than, "I can't wait, I can't wait. It's happening soon."
Yeah. Exactly, I'm gonna be there soon. And then and
Mhm,
also sometimes we can just be really pointed with ourselves too. Like I'll notice sometimes I'm saying, I can't wait, I can't wait. And then I'll stop and say, I can wait. I
mhm.
actually can wait. I am capable of waiting. And just like reminding myself that I can
Yes.
actually will take a little bit of the feverish that it won't take the eagerness away. It's not like we can get a cure for being eager, but we can,
Yeah,
with the anxiety that we add on top of it because we think it has to happen, or we literally can't wait any longer, like I'm bursting at the seams, like those
yeah,
are not the truth. Like we know we can, we will, you're going to wait. You know what I mean? If there's a deadline, it's a deadline, you're going to wait either way. So constantly telling yourself that you can't wait is adding tension to your life, as opposed to saying I can do this, I can wait, and then centering the benefits like Mo said. I'm going to be there
yeah,
soon. There's going to be so
yeah.
many opportunities to, to have new relationships, like centering those things. And it seems like a little weird. It can be weird
Mhm.
because the more you center the benefits, when you come back out from these exercises like this, your mind can then go, all those benefits, and then it tries to go back to gate fever, like
Yeah,
this eager feeling.
right.
So it's not like in that moment where you do these linguistic things and you calm down that you're convincing yourself of something. That's not what it is. What you're doing is rooting yourself in the present moment deliberately right then. And so then
Mhm,
later, even if those new benefits that you discovered start to pull on the gate fever, that's okay because it's a practice. The whole point is that you then take a minute or two later in the day and say, oh, I'm going to get present again. I can
mhm.
wait. It's going to be awesome, but I'm good. Right. And like, so the point
Yeah,
here isn't that you do this exercise. Oh, and now you fixed your gate fever and you're good until the release date comes. The point is that you adopt a practice of saying, oh, I prefer to stay in the present moment, despite how
yeah,
exciting the future might be. I prefer the
right.
present moment.
Yeah, and the way that you know that you've succeeded at this is that your the inside of your mind is no longer a scroll of repeating thinking about this thing that you're looking forward to constantly. Instead, it's like, okay, I'm enjoying my life right now. I'm doing other things while I'm waiting for this thing to happen. I might occasionally think about it, but I'm not constantly taken out of whatever's happening now or whatever I could be enjoying now as a result of constantly thinking about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's so right on, and it's making me think about for if you guys are listening to this and you want to go a little bit deeper and learn more about this, we did an episode on detaching from the outcome, and we also did
Mhm,
an episode on practicing equanimity. I don't remember the episode numbers. Practicing
mhm.
equanimity is actually episode 1, so I do remember that. And then we did an
Yeah.
outcome detaching from the outcome episode. Both of those are highly related to this idea of gate fever, because one of the ways to get out from such feverish feeling of gate fever is to practice detachment. So if any of this resonates with you at all, then check out the detachment episode and the equanimity episode, because they will help give
Mhm,
you even more examples of what it feels like to be handling gate fever well, as opposed to
mhm.
being totally caught in it.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and with that, if you experience gate fever or you try any of the just minor linguistic changes that Brian and I were talking about, we'd love to hear about it. So feel free to leave a comment and let us know. And we'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Until next week, keep taking personal growth into your own hands. Much love.